Hey guys, hoping all is well with everyone. So in this video we're going to be continuing our read-along of The Secret Zoo, The Final Fight, and last time we completed chapter 21, so we'll be starting today with chapter 22. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today, and without further ado, let's jump into it. Chapter 22, 11:44. Tink! Lily barely heard the sound. She scanned the chameleon-covered floor for the clown figurine. The signal. She gazed left, right, nothing. Just hundreds of chameleons crawling off and off one another. Every so often, she'd catch a glimpse of the floor. She saw a flash of white and locked her stare. She waited. She watched. Then she saw a second flash of white. The chameleons were crawling on and off an object, the porcelain clown. Lily took a deep breath. Jordan and the scouts were ready. She moved into the room, using her feet to gently sweep chameleons out of her way. At the first storage rack, she took down a canvas sack and shook it in the air like a sandy beach towel to get the chameleons off. She folded the sack, set it on the rack, and went to work on a second sack, flinging chameleons around. Then she went to the third sack, the fourth, the fifth. When she was finished with the last one, she tucked them under her arm, left the room, and quickly exited the old bakery. On the streets of Transparency, she touched the transmit button on her headset and said, "I'm on my way," to anyone who might be able to hear. Then she ran down the street toward her new destination. Chapter 23, 11:45. Degraff plowed into Mr. Darby, and the two splashed into the water. A gloved hand pushed down on Mr. Darby's head, and the side of his face pressed against the concrete bottom of the fountain. He grabbed his jacket near the front of the collar and held it over his face like a mask. Then he took a deep breath and drew in the water, which passed through the filter of the fabric, allowing only oxygen into his lungs. The velvet acted like gills, allowing him to breathe underwater. Another animal power. He waited for time to pass. 1 minute, and then 2. He stopped struggling and became perfectly still, pretending to be dead. Degraff, convinced that his wicked work was done, slowly stood. Mr. Darby, still breathing oxygen through his jacket, waited. After a few seconds, the water around him stirred, and he realized Degraff was walking off. He jumped up, pounced on Degraff's back, and drove him into the water. But Degraff quickly used his dark magic to slip into the shadows, and Mr. Darby's hand struck the floor of the fountain. When Mr. Darby stood back up, Degraff was on the street, water dripping from his trench coat and his hat missing. Traces of moonlight revealed his face like a hideous secret. His eyes and nose were empty sockets, and the flesh around his mouth looked like it had been torn away. He looked like nothing like the man who had stood on Mr. Jackson's porch 100 years ago. The magic in Mr. Darby's jacket had done much more to preserve his body. "Come and get me, Mr. Jackson," said the creature standing in the street. He glanced around and saw that Mr. Darby did. The city was practically deserted, which meant Degraff's army was almost finished, being staged in the sectors. "Looks like it's almost time," Degraff added as he smiled a heinous smile. The open wounds around his mouth spreading and exposing his black gum line. "You're right," Mr. Darby said as he walked to the edge of the fountain and climbed out into the street. He needed to hold Degraff off for a few minutes to allow Noah and the others to complete their tasks. "It's almost time for you to die. Something you should and I should have done years ago." And I'll stop the video there, ending chapter 23. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, with these chapters, because they are kind of intervaled based on the time that's approaching midnight, they're a little bit shorter, but I kind of want to keep it consistent and break it down as each chapter and those time intervals become more and more crucial and critical in detail as we approach the midnight hours in the story. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Thank you always so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you in the continuation of The Secret Zoo, The Final Fight. And as always, guys, take good care and be safe.